I'm not gonna question it. Must be an iPhone. It's an iPhone thing.
Yeah, right.
For those who have iPhones, don't get a Roadcaster, apparently. Because they don't connect well. All right. Here we are.
We're back.
We are back.
I'm in my cowboy sweatshirt as I promised.
Yeah.
Even after
I can't wait to get to that one.
disappointing
It was
weekend.
It was disappointing.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to blame one person, but we will get there. Tonight's drink of choice.
Only one, huh?
What?
You're only blaming one person. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. I
Yeah.
can't wait. That's a good tease. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
Only one. There's only one. Tonight's episode, unpaid sponsor who doesn't know they're a sponsor just because you had this bottle.
Right.
Steeple Ridge out of Erling.
Yep.
Erling, Iowa.
Erling, Iowa.
Where the hell that's at? What do you think?
It's good. It's real good, actually.
Yeah. You definitely know it's an Iowa bourbon.
Yeah.
Or technically it's a whiskey because you can't call it bourbon. But
Right.
you can taste that. It's got
Taste the Iowa.
yeah, it honestly like
The Iowa spice.
Iowa liquors have a certain flavor, if you will. I don't know if it's because the corn we use or whatever, but you can tell that it's an Iowa
Let's
base.
say, is it the water?
It could be the water.
Could be the water.
Just like New York's pizza is only better because of New York's water.
Right.
Although New York's water is not healthy, but it's
nobody
fine.
ever said it had to be good water. It's just the water.
Just the water.
Right.
The water.
You know, and like there's always something in the water in places where
Yeah, you're not
things
wrong.
going on.
You're not wrong. I can't.
Oh, this moved to 2.5. I did not see that.
Yeah, unless it moved back.
No, I didn't realize it had moved from 1.5.
Unless it moved back.
It's all right. We need to get back into last week.
To life. Get back into life. So let's discuss last week. I'll promise you one thing. I didn't see us tying,
Yeah, we sure did.
but we sure did.
And it wasn't because we were great.
And I was like, fine, I'll do our tiebreaker as our TDs thing.
Right. No, we
Still tied.
We each got one.
And so at that point, I'm like, yeah, we'll just carry over next week.
Yeah,
like I
that's
don't know what
fine.
else to do.
That's fine.
Tried everything possible.
You know, we had to take one under ultimately.
Could have picked a many of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we told you we're picking all over, so you should fade us.
Yeah.
And if you didn't,
That's on you.
that's on you. We don't know what to tell you there. So, first game, Jags Chiefs.
Yeah, that game went. We had to take one under.
Whoa. Oh. Could have picked a many of them.
Hey, you can't do that on your phone right now. You're attached to
I can't do
Bluetooth.
that. So, if you guys want to talk to me, I have to use the computer. So,
Yeah.
my phone is off limits.
Well, I mean, it can be. I guess you turn Bluetooth off until he's going to call in. It'll
That's
be after
true.
5. So
That's true, but I don't want to mess with it. It works now. So
yeah,
let's
that's
get
fine.
to it.
No, that game. I mean, it went about as expected. I thought the Jags missed a couple opportunities. Mahomes' injury was obviously interesting, but then when Hitty goes 98 yards,
Less interesting.
I mean, you can't let that happen if you're the Jags. Like ultimately,
No.
I mean, I don't care what you're doing. Like you cannot let a backup quarterback who has played 15 unmeaningful snaps all year come in and go 98 yards against you in a playoff game.
He's fine. We had discussed. Obviously, we were watching it together. For all those that did
Yes.
not know, we were both saying they had him at the 2. They didn't pressure him at all.
No,
And even if it was Mahomes,
right?
go after him.
Yeah, you got to.
You're on the 2.
Yeah,
You have to make something happen. They didn't.
Right.
They played soft,
yeah.
crazy. Gave him room. Gave him a nice little easy throw under pressure because he's at the goal line. And okay, cool. He's in rhythm.
Right.
Go. Great. Good stopping him.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's been in the league too long to make it easy on him when he comes in, but just
That was a gimme. That was
But
a
just,
little
like, I mean, to turn that in, like, it's one thing if you even get out of
Right, just
the
flip the
shadow
field.
of your own end zone, flip the field, like great. You can't let them score a touchdown on that drive.
No, and they just got bullied.
Yeah.
The entire drive.
So ultimately, that is what costs the Jaguars. I mean, you can't have Mahomes go out for basically a quarter and not take advantage of that really on either side of the ball.
No.
And they kind of got a backdoor cover. So
they sure did. They sure did. But yes, a backdoor cover. Right. However, they were in position to score a couple times. Like, it wouldn't have been a back.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad beat backdoor or anything like that. But, yeah, I mean, they covered late.
Yeah, they covered late. You have a fumble going basically on the 6th.
Yeah.
That's not going to get the job done.
No.
Followed by a pick. So, and then still go down, kick a field goal to cover. So,
I mean, ultimately, the big thing for the Jags offensively to me was the two guys that fumbled were backup running backs. That cost you the game, and you didn't have your number one guy in there. So it would be like if Dallas had their second and third string guys in there, and it wasn't Pollard that was making mistakes. It's the playoffs, man.
Right.
Like, you got to have your best. You got to have your best dude in there. Yeah. If he's the one that makes mistakes, that's fine. But it looks really bad when you're in key situations and it's your second or third string guy that's the one that's making the mistakes, and that person really doesn't add anything more than what your one does. And it's not like ATN plays too much.
Correct.
If anything, he doesn't get enough snaps. So that was another big thing for me is just, I mean, this is it. This is for all the marbles. Like, we're not saving him.
No, there's nothing to save him for.
Right.
Which we'll get to that on the Niners though.
Yeah.
Because that looked like they were saving. That being said, Kansas City, was in control.
Yeah.
The whole game, even with Mahomes going down, like Henney going 98 yards. At that point, you're like, oh well, this one's in control.
Yeah.
And I was more impressed, and I've heard people say the Chiefs' defense. Now it was impressive. They're good enough to hold them in a game, with Mahomes hobbling, without Mahomes in general. And I think that's a difference that they haven't had, as well as how well the O-line performed. Now, yes, there was times he was running for his life. I get that, but
yeah, Mahomes is tough to block for, though. We talked about that too.
Correct.
Doesn't always stay in a clean pocket.
No, there was multiple times.
Actually, multiple times a game that he doesn't stay in a clean pocket, and that's what causes him to be put in
harm's way.
Yeah.
So we'll get to Casey obviously later as they moved on, but overall, Jack's season, that they have to be happy. Absolutely. There's no way they went past everyone's expectations. They put themselves on the map. Lawrence turned a corner as a quarterback, potentially. Yeah. Played very well all year. Defense is solid. They've got good playmakers. They're still going to have a decent pick.
Yeah,
they're improving. That's good to see.
Yeah, they've got coach and quarterback in play, and to me, those are two of your biggest things that you want to build off of in the NFL. So they're going in the right direction. We look at teams like the first team that comes to my mind is like Tennessee from last year. Kind of fell into a 1 seed. Obviously, didn't make the playoffs this year. Coach is defensive minded. Quarterback is, they don't even know who it's going to be. And so that team, same division is why they come to mind. But, that type of mindset in the NFL just isn't a consistent winning mindset. So I think the Jags are on the right track to be able to repeat at least playoff appearances. Now the AFC is a juggernaut.
Correct.
We're talking Burrow, we're talking Mahomes, we're talking Allen, we're talking a healthy Lamar Jackson.
Rodgers question? Teaser?
Right? So, yeah, possibly. But there's just a lot to go through on that side, even once you make it in. Herbert, another guy that is going to get a lot of mention, social media darling, but a guy with a ton of talent, a ton of upside. The coaching there, obviously they did some stuff on the offensive coaching side in the offseason already. So, the AFC is going to be stout and is going to be stout for years to come with the young quarterback play that they have.
Set up well.
The NFC somehow is like almost completely opposite of that, other than maybe one or two guys.
Absolutely.
And even those guys would be, people will still argue, whereas the AFC, nobody's really arguing Like,
right.
These are the 6 dudes. Everybody else is like, come and get it afterwards. NFC is completely up year to year, up for grabs.
They've had their run. It's now flipped, and it'll continue to do so. But we Goonlocked on KC Jags over.
Yeah.
Debatably, the over should have hit, but whatevs. You fumble here and there, it happens. So, but we did get KC and Jags. So we move on. This next game, I promise you, will not. We won't have to speak very long about it.
Eagles Giants. The Eagles looked like a team, one on a mission, but 2, Jalen Hurts was healthy. Didn't have to overexert himself to be dominant, which I think was big as far as coming off that injury. Things were easy for the Eagles. Got up big early and pretty much coasted in. And that's how you won it in a playoff game. And the Giants looked young, inexperienced. Daniel Jones played as bad as he has in the last 5 to 7 weeks, but you're going to expect that every once in a while. He's an inconsistent quarterback. He's been solid, but he's inconsistent. And if Barkley doesn't get enough touches, they're not going to stay in games. Unfortunately, they got behind the 8 ball too much early on and really couldn't do anything to get him the ball enough for them to stay in the game. So,
I was looking to see how many touches he had. He had 12 touches.
Yeah.
I think they could have got him going earlier.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's the thing. Like, if a guy like that doesn't have 25 touches in a playoff game, you're not utilizing your best players correctly. I'll probably harp on that a lot in all of these games, but it's just a thing that I feel like the NFL now going to, you got 1, 2, 3 running backs, it's like, man, I get like you can be multiple in your formations and stuff like that, but your best dude's got to be on the field 95% of the time. It's playoffs.
Yeah.
These dudes can play 50, 60, 70 snaps. Like, figure it out.
Yeah.
So just kind of drives me crazy when you're not just riding your dude. I get it in the regular season. Certain games and certain areas are going to dictate how much workflow you give to a guy. But come playoff time, it's time to ride the horses, man.
Time to ride them.
Yep.
And the Giants could not.
No.
And so the Eagles.
Ultimately, I don't think it would have mattered. But
no, Eagles move on. They move on. Then we get to the snowy Bengals-Bills. Man, it was just a beautiful looking setup. It was just beautiful overall.
Yeah.
How you called it, obviously, but Bengals were just in control the whole way. The Bills looked like they didn't know how to play on snow. To me, from a footing standpoint, the Bengals were aggressive in terms of their cuts and everything. Like, it was relatively normal,
right?
But the Bills looked like they were somewhat running on ice, and it didn't make sense.
They were waiting to I didn't really see any slipping, but they were waiting to slip.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
They were playing for the slip as opposed to just
playing.
Playing, if you slip, you slip.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's what it looked like early on, and then from a game.
Ultimately, the Bills couldn't get a pass rush.
None.
Overall, the Bengals were able to get a pass rush. Bills never got any type of running game going, which for the most part, that's Josh Allen only. That never really got going. Josh Allen looked pedestrian at best during multiple parts of that game as far as inaccuracy on throws. They had a drop. The Bills had 3 big plays that Allen overthrew Diggs early, would have been a touchdown. I believe Davis had a drop on the sideline on a deep pass. And then there was one other one I can't directly recall, but basically another big play that would have been a scoring position type of play, and you can't afford to do that in the playoffs.
No.
It's kind of the same thing that happened to the Jags against the Chiefs. You just can't make those types of mistakes. We'll talk about it, but same thing happened in the Cowboys game. Cowboys 49ers game on both sides. Yeah. One team took advantage, the other team didn't. So
I was disappointed in the Bills. They just they just didn't look like they were competing. It just did not look like what I wanted to see out of the Bills at all. I thought the Bengals might be a little bit behind the 8 ball. They're hot. Ride the hot team, like you said. Yeah. They look good across the board. But the Bills it was like, meh. It was just.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals, they handled them.
From kickoff. Like, there was watching it, I was not concerned about the game. Like the Bengals were going to win. Like that was it. Like the Bengals are winning. How it comes at the end, who knows? Yeah. But they were in control and really never turned for them.
No, it was another disappointing end to a Josh Allen season.
It was
for a guy that's obviously the Bills were favored overall to start the year from a Super Bowl odds standpoint. Defensive injuries really killed him early on. Both safeties and best pass rusher are hurt, so hard to overcome that, especially when you have an offense that can't find a consistent running game. To be able to keep those guys off the field or put them in better positions to be able to attack with the weaknesses that they had on that side of the ball. So just too much to overcome. And the Bengals, again, are the hottest team in football, right next to the 49ers.
Absolutely. So my miss here was I picked Bills money line. Otherwise, the rest of them we had. Again, we took all the overs. Clearly, those did not hit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cowboys, Niners. Huh?
19 to 12.
Ew. Hey, comes out to 31. It's a great number, by the way.
Yeah.
Those counting at home.
So obviously the under hit there.
Ew.
Pollard got hurt. That killed us. Zeke can't do it, and we really refused to put Davis in until it really didn't matter. We didn't put him in positions to use his skill set either. And we'll get to the last play of the game, but oh my goodness.
I have a different thought than most on that, by the way. So can't wait.
We'll get to that. Really defensive.
It was a great defensive game.
Defensive domination on both sides.
Sure was.
I thought the Cowboys responded really well all game until they got worn down a little bit, and the 49ers were able to run the ball against them late third quarter, fourth quarter. And two huge plays. You had the Kittle play off the hand, off the helmet, down the middle on third and long. And then you had later in that drive, Purdy made one of the worst throws he's made since he became a starter in the NFL and hit Diggs right in the chest inside the red zone, and we dropped the ball. And it's 9-9 at that point. They go on 3 plays later to score a touchdown. At that point, we go down and get a field goal right after that, 16-12. But ultimately, that's just the defense needed that pick from a standpoint of that's when they started to get bullied a little bit, and that would have been just a huge shift to get the defense off the field, and then also to give your offensive chance to go lead in the game late,
right,
and put a different type of pressure on Purdy after he just made a terrible throw. Because after that, the throws that he made were great. It's like all of a sudden that throw was gone, and he needed to make that throw. It's like it took that long in the game for everything to get out, and I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then he was fine.
He was fine. Yeah.
Which again, that was very late in the game, but ultimately Purdy didn't play great.
No.
Dak played worse. Dak threw 2 no pressure in the pocket interceptions. And had a third one that probably should have been a pick 6.
Oh. He was bad.
He was terrible. He made a few good plays here and there to keep us
as he should
in the game. But I mean, again, you're paid to do more than that. You're paid to score more than 12 points with that offense, that offensive line. Now I get it. Pollard's out, but.
And one was a short field on a muff punt.
Yeah. Just bad missed throws. There was one of the handoff plays where Dak actually made a nice play, not handing it off and getting his running back killed. Right. But we just missed the blitz protection. So whether that's on Dak to audible away from that, I didn't see exactly what happened, but basically just let a free rusher come in and almost took the handoff from him. So you got to be able to see that if that's where you're running the ball. You're the quarterback. So.
I mean,
CeeDee Lamb had a great game.
He did. Pollard was getting going. It sucked that he got hurt.
Yeah.
They started him, which took his entire career to do. And your offense is totally different with Pollard and Zeke.
Yeah.
They're two different offenses. You cannot do the same thing. No. And there is not as much scare with Zeke in there. You're going to get your downhill runs, maybe an outside run, but you're not worried about it. And you're not getting all those screens and all those things. You'll get a couple, but not.
But even if you do, he's getting 10 yards on a screen.
Correct. Not a touchdown or 50, 40.
That's why Davis needed to be in. Like, he's a game breaker like Pollard is. He's not as polished overall, but ultimately, like, you got to put a guy in there who can scare a defense a little bit. And Zeke just, most of the time he falls forward, and he had a couple like really tough runs where he ended up getting a first down. Like, great, like goal line and short yardage, that's fine. But in the middle of the field, it's like, it's not this bad, but it's like old Jerome Bettis, like 5 carries, 1 yard, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
Right. That's a real stat line.
I know, and I love everything about it.
Right. But that's, Zeke's a little bit better than that, but like, no,
not much.
Just as far as what he's bringing to attack a defense, unfortunately, it's just not there. So a disappointing end. Again, I picked the 49ers to win. I thought they were going to be the better overall team, better overall defense. Pleasantly surprised in how well our defense played.
Yes. Absolutely.
Was super disappointed in losing that game because I felt like for 3.5 quarters we outplayed them. Mm-hmm. But when you only score 12 points, you're not going to win the game. The thing is, 20 points wins that game. And 20 points should not be too much to ask for that offense.
To be fair, either of those offenses, but yes. Yep. Correct.
Right. But they're starting a rookie quarterback in his second playoff game.
Which this play calling this week, like for the Niners specifically, was just weird to start.
Yeah.
It was just awkward. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't I know Dallas, like they, having Parsons being able to line up in a lot of different places, I think that throws some teams off.
Absolutely.
And that guy's just a human wrecking ball. But so I don't know if that's what it was. Little playoff nerves for Shanahan.
It was,
or what it was. We talked a little bit. McCaffrey didn't play that many snaps, and they didn't really utilize him that much in the running game.
Apparently, they showed him on the sideline stretching a calf, heating it up. But he was held to second half, mainly third down back, and when they were going no huddle, like it was
right.
And once they started running the ball, then obviously clearly that's where we were talking about, like, you didn't need him,
right?
Almost any running back could have got yards at that point.
Mm-hmm. And they were just trying to run clock, really.
And they're just running clock, so why put him out there and risk anything when he's already banged up, maybe?
Yeah.
So, but their defense looks really good, like real good. I thought overall, from a defense perspective, it was solid. I thought play calling on both sides offensively was weird for first 2-3 drives. It wasn't what I would have thought they would have done,
right?
Which is probably part of it. But honestly, Dak lost that game. He lost that game 9. Like the picks, yes, but like just inconsistent.
Yeah,
it just was not a good game. He plays well, not even prior week well. Just a normal ass game.
Yeah.
You guys win that game.
Just don't turn the ball over and you win the game.
And
they had a muff punt. Was there one turnover, and then we obviously dropped the interception, which they dropped an interception as well. But the 2 interceptions we threw they were not defensively caused. Like
no,
the first one was staring down a receiver. The other one was just a bad read. Like so. Yeah, it can't happen at that level.
Can't happen.
Juncture. So another disappointing end to a Cowboys season. Yep. What's new?
But I went Niners over. You went Niners Cowboys over. Again, we've talked about the whole over thing, which means we ended up with a tie. So I thought, hey, great idea. We both picked a touchdown parlay.
We did.
Why don't we use that as a tiebreaker? Well, I got Kelsey. Barkley didn't ever get the ball. Knox was nowhere near scoring, and Pollard got hurt. You had McKinnon, which didn't really sniff the end zone either.
Nope.
Hurts scored. Hey.
Yeah.
And then Davis did not because the Bills were not playing well. Kittle, though, I had to double check. I really thought Kittle scored just because of like how he was playing. Mm-hmm. He did not.
He did not.
And so we tied again. So we're going to roll over our shitty shots next week, ladies and gents. Until next week. And by next week, we mean conference championship time.
Yeah. Which
we'll probably Goonlock on. So overall standings, though, updated total between college and NFL. I've got 243 wins for 56.38% win percentage. Cole was 226 for overall 52.44. Really, he dominates in college. I dominate in NFL. Ipso facto, here we go. Ryan still owes like 6 shitty shots.
That's it.
I have no idea. I lost count.
Exactly.
But shitty shot counter, Cole took the lead at 16.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ryan's not moving anymore. So.
Yeah, I know. And technically, I'm tied with.
He's not here to bail me out.
No, not at all. So yeah, here we go.
I was just looking at our. So we made our NFL preseason playoff picks.
If you go down, we I think the Final Four is in there too. For the NFL. Yeah, there it is.
Oh.
Hey, we each got it. No. Steve and I have a team left.
Oh.
Woo! Ew.
Oh.
That's gross. Anywho.
Yeah.
Not too bad. We Goonlocked on the ones in, and let's see how many we missed. Indy, not close.
Yeah.
Ravens, close, but not good. Bills, KC, Vegas, yikes. And then Cincy.
We had 4 there.
Rams, Tampa, Green Bay, and we had 1 there.
Yeah.
And out, we locked on New England, Pitt, and Tennessee. Hey-oh!
Nailed them.
But wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How wrong was my NFL playoffs out having the Niners out?
Steve was the only one that had him in.
That's how bad it was. To be fair, if Purdy doesn't step in, I don't think they're going to the playoffs.
Oh, I mean, I probably don't disagree, but
but it happened, and here we are. Here we sit.
So
here we sit.
Yeah, that's yikes.
It's not good.
Well.
All right. So,
let's see. How do you want to get on the old Twitter machine?
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. No worries. When's our potential guest?
About 10 or 15 minutes, maybe.
All right. Let's go ahead and pull up the Twitter machine. Don't have a lot this week.
No, not as much content.
I mean, we are lesser games.
Right. That's what I mean.
No. Ever more than I anticipated. There we are. All right. First one. Bucks fired Brian Leftwich. This was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not, and you had mentioned it, like there's got to be something behind the scenes with Brady or something, because why? Now, no, it was not a historically good season, but it wasn't all on him. Brady played terrible all year.
I thought the whole thing
and they had no O-line.
Was that him and Brady had a good relationship. So
something happened because he's gone.
Oh, I get it.
And I think there's going to be a lot of teams really excited to have him.
I don't disagree.
There was 0 line, and you have the GOAT who played average.
Yeah.
At best.
Not very goatish.
The only reason he had good numbers is because a couple fourth quarters he decided to go off.
Right.
I'm not sure why that occurred. Oh, how far did I go? this is the butt. I think that's the butt. I think that's the butt.
Hey, is Cole Beasley still there? We'd like him to drop, if he has a quick 8-16.
Cole right here.
Drop a beat.
Cole!
What's happening?
Hey, I don't want to put you on the spot too much here. You retired? Were you just like, I'm done with this shit? And then Buffalo called and like, you know what? Maybe I'll jump back into the game. What happened there?
Yeah, Tampa had me doing 45 plays in one practice. I couldn't hold up.
Just great stuff. Just great stuff. For those who couldn't hear, or if you could or not hear, Cole Beasley was on the McAfee show, and they were basically asking like, hey, you retired, and now all of a sudden you're at the Bills. What's going on?
Yeah.
And Beasley responds, Tampa Bay had me doing 45 plays in one practice, and I couldn't hold up.
Yeah, right.
Which, was funny, but also like, that's a lot of damn plays.
Right.
For an old dude. But good. That was funny.
I was surprised Brady did 45 plays in a practice.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is one that snuck by us both, and apparently a lot of people, by the way. Vikings fired their DC.
Yeah,
I did not even see it.
No, but necessary.
Not shocked. Come on, they were frauds all year.
Yeah,
it was definitely about to happen. All right. Oh, this is just going to your point.
Yeah.
Yep. Hasty was wide open and dropped it. End of half, cost the Jags 3 points, which is the backup, the number 2.
Yep.
Agnew fumbled the game away inside the 5. Maybe play the back you wasted a first-round pick on. And I wouldn't say wasted. I'd say that you used.
if you're not going to play him.
Oh, that's true. If you're not going to play him, that's right. ETN should have been in that ball game.
Yeah.
Interesting here. Always gotta.
I wanted to get your take on this from a defensive perspective.
Always gonna have a good one. So wanted to bring this up.
You always drop to the legs like as a defender because that's what you're trying to get down on the ground, right?
Yeah. So.
What is this, a natural motion here?
Yeah. Pull him down. So I actually did the same exact thing to a receiver. I believe it was.
He also broke his leg?
I don't know.
Okay.
He didn't return to the game.
Yeah.
Was it Marist? It might have been Marist. Anyway, we were playing at home, and they were running crossers all day long. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who was starting that game, but they just were not picking that up and making that tackle.
Right.
Coach threw me in, so I was like, fine, let's do this. First play, he comes across, and I'm running him down. And if you would think Mahomes would be running this way,
right.
I grabbed him. And I go I'm going straight down because we don't want them to get another yard.
Right.
And by doing so, you collapse on their leg and their ankle does that.
Right.
Same thing with Pollard. It was the same, very same thing.
Oh yeah.
Slowed down, it looks like he just sat on his legs. Right. But his job is to get him to the ground.
Right, and that's the best way to do it is just from a force perspective.
Right, because otherwise you're just gonna hang on to him.
Oh right.
Like what are you supposed to do?
I was just curious.
And in this case, he launched. And then what, you're gonna catch yourself? No, you're gonna pull the quarterback down. Yeah. Which, if you want to argue about his helmet hitting his side of his helmet, sure, talk about that. Don't talk about the fact that the way he fell in his leg.
Right.
That's nothing to me.
Yeah,
sucks.
I think the tweet was more about him dive bombing the leg.
The immediate drop down to the leg, not even trying to wrap and tackle.
I just didn't think that was a thing. So,
first of all, he wrapped, and pulling him down as a tackle. Yeah. So, no, that's nothing to me. Yep. Oh man, I really hope the volume works for everyone out here on this one.
Yeah.
This is a good. So let's hope it works.
Okay. Right back by where Henny got hit.
Everybody shut up.
There's a flag in Jags.
Right back by where Henny got hit.
Everybody shut up.
I think it's Sean that was doing this game if I remember right.
Right back by where Henny got hit.
Everybody shut up.
Everybody shut up.
Good.
Let me get this call. Let me talk to my guys. Everybody shut up. Hot mic.
I was really hoping it would have been hotter.
Yeah. Everybody shut up.
Speaking of helmet to helmet, I'd like your take on this as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Because we got 2 plays. So we've got this play, and then we've got another one. And I'm going to tell you why I think both calls were correct.
Okay.
This call, I think, is a correct no call. Defender comes in, head up, and finishes with arms out. the only contact his helmet makes with the quarterback is face mask. And there's no targeting, there's no launching, there's no spearing. You can't call that.
Nope.
And it wasn't called, and I think it was the correct call. I think that because the only thing that made them touch face masks is the fact that he is 5'10" or 6'1",
whatever,
and Lawrence is 6'5".
Yeah.
Like if they're both 6'5", they might not even hit helmets, and Lawrence turns his head a little bit, but doesn't lead with the head, leads with the arms, contact with the hands first, pushes away, doesn't.
This to me is where we're getting a little too sensitive with helmets hitting.
Yeah.
We have helmets for a reason, one.
Right.
Two.
They're going to hit.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be wearing them if they weren't going to hit.
Correct. Exactly.
So
no, I'm 100% okay with this.
Yep. So, yeah, that
Non-factor for me.
Was a non-factor there. Do we have the other one? I don't remember if I put that one in there. You know which one I'm talking about, don't you?
No.
The one where he came in, like you couldn't really see if he actually hit him, but he came in with his head down and hockeyly threw the flag right away.
We do not
but
have that one.
Oh, dang it. I thought I put that one in there. My bad. Are you sure I didn't put it in there?
I'm pretty sure. We got this one. We got that one. And then it's over because she's there.
Yeah, what's that one right there?
This one?
No, the one below that. No, keep going down. That one. What's that one?
This is.
Oh,
this
that's
one.
Brady.
Yeah, this is that.
Damn it. Okay.
So
So the other one, I'm going to touch base on real quick, just because it was a comparative one. Was it in the same game? Was that the one? Was that on Mahomes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it
because
was.
I'm pretty sure it's hockey league through the flag. So Jaguars defender comes in, and almost identically to what we just watched and talked about, except for this defender literally has his head straight down, and it is hard to see. It doesn't look like there's much contact, but literally he's leading with his helmet. His arms aren't out, and he's going towards Mahomes' head. And Hockey Lee does not have the angle because he's standing back behind him, and he reaches and throws, I mean, almost instantaneously as Mahomes gets rid of the ball. Was probably some helmet to helmet. Was it hard enough to warrant a flag? Probably not, but the whole thing was perception. It's like you cannot run towards the quarterback with your head down. And if that's what you're leading with and your head's not up and your arms aren't up, like, you're going to get flagged. And that was more of, again, I don't think he didn't spear him and take him to the ground or anything like that. But as soon as he put his helmet down, he was screwed. It was ultimately what it came down to. Don't put your head down.
Put your head down. Now, I think in his helmet, like when his angle actually hit him in the shoulder, like glanced his like cheek, but like the helmet hit here. But again, Hockley couldn't see it from that angle. And no, don't tip your head. Yeah. Just don't do it.
So
use a face mask.
Big difference between those two plays, both in the same game. So
absolutely. We have a couple. I think. Let me see. Oh, we got one more football. And then we'll go to golf because guess what? It's golf season.
It is.
It's off season. And you know what we're going to do during the bye week? Between the Super Bowl? We're going to talk about golf because that's all we got.
Yeah.
Maybe a little college basketball, a little teaser going into March Madness.
March Madness teaser.
March Madness teaser.
We're about 3 minutes away from our first guest of the new year.
Of the new year?
Yeah.
Of the season?
Well, I mean.
Do we have any guests this year? I guess Steve counts as one.
Right. I mean, he didn't stay long enough to not be a guest.
Yeah, that's fair. So a little tweet here. Update. The Packers will not be trading Aaron Rodgers within the NFC conference. They will explore the idea of trading the quarterback exclusively to the AFC. Thoughts?
I mean, I think ultimately Rodgers just either needs to retire or get out of Green Bay. Another year with Green Bay isn't
not good for anything, anybody.
No, and it's really disappointing because he's one of the, he's a guy that's been on a team for a long time. It's kind of when Brady left the Patriots, that type of thing. But you like to see guys on one team for a whole career, and unfortunately these days it very rarely works out that way. But if he's going to stay in the league and be relevant and not cause a distraction, he needs to be
gotta go
in the AFC or retired.
Yeah.
Whichever he chooses.
Right.
So
I agree.
He can still play at a high level, in my opinion.
Packers fans that I know agree too. Like, and this isn't, at this point, does not feel like, when I think Packers, I think Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Like, I don't have that, oh, well, it'll be weird seeing him in a different jersey. It doesn't.
No.
Like, I don't have
It feels
that.
like almost like he's already been in a different jersey,
Correct.
even though he hasn't.
Been? Yeah. No,
Right.
I agree. All right. Well, a little golfy. A little golf. Okay. Man, I don't know what Rahm's going to do. I think overall he just needs to be better at golf, because he's lost 2 of the last 6 tournaments he's played in. You know, if he really wants to be number 1 in the world, he can't keep losing those at those rates. So this tweet goes. There's a couple layers to it. One, Rahm has won 3 in a row, I believe, 2 in a row on the tour, but 3 total in a row tournaments, and his ranking did not improve from winning this week.
Right.
But someone else could have went to number 1.
Yeah.
If they would have won, Rahm could not have.
Right.
Mathematically. And we'll get into all of that as we get into rankings, but I just thought it was a great little tweet of, man, he can't keep losing these tournaments at this rate. He's 2 of 6. He just can't keep doing that.
We can't afford these top 5s either.
No, can't do that. It's not good for the program. There was a tweet
really hurting the brand with
really
all the
hurting
wins.
the brand. There was another tweet I didn't show it in here. It's just another outlandish Tigger one, because it has Rahm winning 3 in a row, and there's only been 18 times that someone's won 3 in a row. Yeah. 14 of those are Tigers.
Right.
Like, that's just the statistics on that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go down a rabbit hole of
go ahead,
just unbelievable statistics, and then specifically in golf, like any sport but golf, it's they're ridiculous. Weeks at number 1,
name it.
That
wins,
type of stuff.
Just name it. All right, this one's fun. This is happening this week, and I'll be paying a little attention, mainly because of this tweet, but also because there's only 2 football games that are on Sunday. Yeah. According to reports in Dubai, Patrick Reed threw a golf tee at Rory after the world number 1 ignored him on the range.
Yeah. Like, I mean, was it? Oh, there he is. Hello.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Is this the pride of Sigourney?
Oh, I don't know where you got that information. It might be, though.
That's what we were given. Today. I don't know what to tell you.
We have the pleasure of our first guest of the year, Mr. Andrew Utterback. As I said, the pride of Sigourney. Andrew is actually a coworker of mine. Started a new job here beginning of the year with VisiPay, and Andrew's a coworker and an avid sports bettor, probably even more avid than both of us. He's kind of a, what would you call yourself in the betting world, Andrew? Are you a degenerate?
I'm borderline. I think we're getting close to that designation. Yeah,
that's fair. So, Andrew, give us a little bit about yourself, and then we're just getting ready to get into some picks here for this weekend, and we'll chat about some other things too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Like you said, I grew up in a small town, Sigourney, Iowa. Had the opportunity to play Division I baseball down in Alabama at Alabama A&M. Played a couple years in the minors and independent ball. Hung it up and have been in the sales world here in Des Moines since then.
What position did you play, Andrew?
I was an outfielder all the way through college, and then when I went to the next level, I was moved to relief pitcher. I could throw hard, and the hitting was suspect, so I think that's why the move was made.
It happens. So for our listeners out there, obviously they know we're in Iowa. Where the hell is Sigourney, Iowa? I don't even know, and I'm from Nebraska and lived in Iowa way too long. But where the hell is it?
Yep, so it's southeast. So if you go out of Pleasant Hill on 63 through Pella, go to Oskaloosa, hit 92, there's Sigourney. About an hour and a half away from here.
Right there, right next to Kyoto.
Bang-a-rang.
That's right.
So I'm doing a little, just a quick Google search. Was your college mascot really the Butch?
No, we were the Bulldogs.
Oh, so they've changed it since you were there.
That'd be news to me.
Alabama A&M University.
Bulldogs and Lady Bulldogs.
Oh, Butch is
Alabama.
the name.
Butch is the
Butch
name.
is the name of the mascot. I'm like, what in the
There we
hell
go.
is going on? Would be way cooler if it was.
Yikes.
That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
The whiskey's hitting harder
The
tonight than
whiskey's,
usual.
yeah, apparently it's that cold you have.
Right.
So you both work at VisiPay. That's where you met. I'm only going to say VisiPay like 2 more times.
That's fine.
Until the invoice comes.
Yeah.
So,
Fair.
So you went directly from independent ball to sales, huh?
Correct. Yep. I made my way around Des Moines a little bit. This was my 3rd job here with a different company in Des Moines, but all in the sales field. So yeah, that's I had to keep that competitiveness, from sports. I mean, you guys both kind of in that world as well, and obviously coming from sports, I think that's just kind of in our DNA at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of those jobs you've worked with Jesse as well, correct?
That is correct. Yep. Just keep following them around. Maybe one will stick here.
Follower, not a leader, huh? I see.
Yeah.
Married, kids.
I will say you are a much better dresser. This is the second time I've watched. Cole, you got to pick up the game a little bit.
Hey, it's work environment that drives my dress.
I wouldn't. I mean, sometimes you.
Also, you should see the guy on Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah, I dress down a little bit sometimes.
Sweatpants on Fridays. I'm telling you.
There you go.
Hey, no one knows that.
There's reasons we don't do shows on Fridays.
Yeah, right. All right, so talk to us. Get us a background of your favorite sports teams.
So I am a big proponent of whatever my dad was a fan of is what I'm a fan of. So I am a diehard New England Patriots fan. I get a lot of grief back, and then also a diehard Cubs fan. Not much in the NBA here and there, and then for college, go Hawks.
Because it's going to make me physically ill.
To like all of those terms.
Yeah.
Like not good.
I got 2 dogs at home. They're named Rizzo and Sosa. So
I can get behind Sosa. Wow. Okay. Well, we know his teams.
Yep.
That's gross.
I mean, I knew him before, but
well, that's just disgusting. It's fine. Kids, married, blood type.
I got married last September.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, poor guy.
I think I'm O negative. I don't know for sure. No, no kids. We got the 2 dogs. That's keeping us pretty busy right now. But yeah, just married last September. We live out in Bondurant. Bought a house last year as well. So kind of doing the whole adulting thing here at 30. So
you can't do adulting unless you have children. So right now you're just living life. That's fine.
Yeah, got a little more time then.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll survive. Do you want to give us a quick recap of what you thought the overall games went last week, besides Dak Prescott looking like poo-poo?
Yeah, I think Dak showed his true colors when the lights are on. That's the Dak that we see, right?
Absolutely.
But other than that, I was kind of on board with all your guys' picks. So I was more with you at the Bills game where I thought the Bengals would cover. Did not see them just coming out and just getting outplayed in every aspect of the game. I feel like the Bengals could have moved up and down the field at will the entire time if they wanted to. I know it's kind of gone around today, but I think Joe Burrow has, stepped his place into that second spot for Josh Allen. Josh Allen, we're kind of seeing is a turnover guy when the big lights are on. But I really like Joe Burrow. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. He's got to win this weekend to cement himself in the Patrick Mahomes conversation, though. And then as far as the Chiefs-Jags game, huge turnover. Lawrence is getting himself into that top 5 realm as well. Really liked his play. He's starting to become the guy that's never out of the game. You leave him in the game, he's going to be dangerous down when it matters. And I think he showed that to us here in the playoffs, especially with that wild card round game. And then as far as the Eagles, thank you for finally putting the Giants fans to bed. Oh man, anytime they get any momentum, you have Giants fans out of the woodworks. It seems like. So I really applaud them for putting them to bed in that kind of showing. That wasn't even a game from start to finish.
No, not at all. No, I agree with everything you just said there. So that's awesome. Let's get into this week's games.
Wait, I have I have breaking news, and we have a baseball guy on.
Oh,
Scott Rowland just got into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Really?
Huh?
Okay, so it wasn't an overreaction on my part. 76%.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Good career. I mean, not great, but good.
No, I mean, he kind of legitimized the third base position for like the new era of third baseman, I would say, but like yeah, that's
okay. So he's all right.
I see that
on the ballot, huh?
I was listening this morning that the two guys expected to get in were him and Todd Helton.
I can see Todd Helton.
I just
I mean, Helton's a lifetime 300 guy. I
right.
can see that.
Yeah, I could too. In the name, obviously, on top of that. But also, the Baseball Hall of Fame's funky, isn't it, though?
I mean, it's just weird.
For sure.
I mean, obviously, the fact that they leave a ton of players off because of alleged things, aside from that argument, isn't it just like a weird way to get in?
It's all about how you interacted with the media.
Yeah.
I mean, it's who they like. I mean, it's not about. I mean, it is about stats, but I mean, it's all about who they like in the media.
Yeah, which is
not how that should work.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Schilling, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, he was asked to the media, and they won't put him in.
It just makes no sense.
What are your thoughts quickly on the steroid guys, just in general?
Barry Bonds is the greatest player to ever put on a uniform in baseball, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens had a Hall of Fame career before he even did steroids. I mean, it wasn't illegal then. I mean, everybody was doing it. You had to do it to stay relevant during that time period.
Well, he's also never tested positive.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an era of baseball. There's different eras of baseball. That's one of them. You got to put those guys in. They were the top of that era.
Yeah,
you got to throw them.
Yeah, okay.
Not to mention, like, let's go to.
I hate that I agree with. I mean, that we have the same take, but I have exactly the same take as you.
Well,
so
let's go back to like the Barry Bonds situation, right? I played a little high school baseball, and hitting, no matter how jacked you are,
yeah, you have to put the bat.
You still have to put the bat on the ball,
and then you have to put the center of the bat on the center of the ball.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
I'm not gonna lie, like steroids really don't help your eyes and your whole motor function.
Well, I mean,
unless they do, because then I missed out on the whole fucking boat. And
your head got bigger, your eyes got bigger, right?
Right? Jeez, like he still had a sweet swing.
That's my whole point.
Talk about that.
You still got to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, in my opinion.
Correct.
No matter how big you are.
Correct.
Like Brady Anderson took steroids, but he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like those guys were the top guys during that era. Everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Put the top guys in.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well,
all right. So we'll revisit baseball because when it's just golf and there's baseball coming up at some point. All right. Starting game. Sunday, I think 3:30. I don't know. Don't quote me. Niners at Eagles. Eagles are favored 2.5. Total's 46.5. Andrew, what say you?
I mean, we're all waiting for that Brock Purdy collapse game, right? Like it's got to happen. I just think though he has too many weapons around him. I ultimately think the Eagles win the game. I think it comes down to something late that I think the Eagles will backdoor cover with a winning field goal type thing. I think it's definitely the under, but I'm going to have to take the Eagles and the 2.5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you would think the Purdy thing would happen, right? Ultimately. But I don't see that happening. My biggest question is, what's Shanahan doing? We had talked about it with the recap of the Niners Cowboys. his play calling was all over the place. It was just weird going into last week. And the Eagles' front seven, specifically their front four, I should say front eight, is way deeper than the Cowboys. And they're going to rotate them in and just fire at will. Now, their back end is weaker.
Quick stat here, though.
Ooh, got stats?
So the Eagles are number 1 in the league, overall pass defense, second in the league in sacks. But Phil falls somewhere in the 16 to 20 range for rushing defense, which is obviously going to be a strength for the 49ers. So keeping that in consideration, Dallas was number 6 overall defense, and they were like number 6 or 8 in the pass and number 14 or 16 in the run. So just to give you an idea of those comparative defenses, both of those teams obviously like to get after the passer, which I think the 49ers can protect from a little bit because of their style of offense.
Now, with that stat being said, it's a very great game for the Niners to play the Cowboys before the Eagles.
Right.
In terms of that. Styles are relatively similar. And so I think they'll be prepped for it. But I think it should be a really good game. I think both these games, on paper, should be really fun and interesting.
Yeah. Any one like X factor key player that you see in that game, as far as a good game or a bad game, that could cost one of these teams possibly being blown out, or on the other side blowing a team out because they're playing so well?
I mean, this is going to kind of be not a usual pick, but I think Fred Warner has to have the game of his life.
Very capable.
He's going to be the guy that's going to have to lock in Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know everybody knows the playmakers they have on offense, and I mean, yes, Purdy is going to have to play well. But I mean, if the Niners are going to win this game, I think it's going to come down to Warner having the game of his life on Jalen Hurts, making him second guess, taking off running. Maybe he second guesses that, throws a bad ball, batted away, intercepted.
Right.
I think that's going to be the type of play that's really going to change the game on its hinges. And on the other side, I mean, it's Jalen Hurts. I mean, their defense is their defense. They're very elite. And if Hurts can play in this big moment, this is kind of the first time we're seeing him at this level. I mean, they could be really good for a while.
Yeah, no doubt. Fred Warner made, I would say arguably the play of the game on a Tampa 2 coverage where he ran from the line of scrimmage 35 yards down the field, covering a at least top 10 receiver in the league in CeeDee Lamb on a middle route that 99% of linebackers in the league can't get to.
I need people to realize how difficult that is.
Yeah, play it was,
How difficult from the line of scrimmage to get to Tampa 2.
Yeah.
One, you have to be fast enough, clearly. Right. But the balls defensively to call it, and defensively as just the defender,
right?
Because you can't get caught leaning one way. He had to have timed that run and split perfectly.
Right.
Now, I still believe Dak could have put the ball where the receiver could have caught it.
Right.
But he was in position to make Dak go, shit.
Right.
And that's all really it took.
Mm-hmm.
That play, from a linebacker position, one of the greatest that you'll see from a Tampa 2 perspective.
And, I mean, I don't know, is it really an argument? I mean, he's the best linebacker in the league right now, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
I would agree.
Do the Niners ever have 2 bad backers?
Right.
Like, I mean, when was the last time they had 2 bad backers?
Very true.
Because Greenwich, whatever his name is, his counterpart, really good too.
Yeah.
Made some plays. So I agree. I believe he has to have a really good game. I defensively would lock down the Eagles' run game. Hurts, you have to beat me throwing.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to run 200 yards on us. And I believe the Niners, that's what's going to happen. They're going, well, I don't know if they're going to shut it down, but they're going to sell out to shut it out.
Niners have the number 1 run defense. They gave up just under 80 yards a game rushing.
They'll give up 120 probably.
So if
that's a win.
I mean, I don't know that they will because to your point, if they give up the 80 yards, that means they've kept Hurts in check, but that also means that they haven't let Sanders get going by wasting a defender on Hurts or anything like that. So if they can keep it that average, and that's, like I said, that's season average. That's with the playoff games. That's at 80 yards. So there's only 3 teams in the NFL that were under 100 yards this year, and they were well below. So that's going to be a strength for them. the Eagles can do a little bit of everything. Obviously, Hurts wants to run a little bit, but he's not a guy that is a run first or looking to run first. But definitely want, if I'm the Niners defense, to your point, I definitely want to make him beat me with his arm only, keeping him in the pocket.
And also attack their right tackle. What's his name? The Eagles' right tackle has the torn groin.
Oh, okay.
I would. Who's going to line up over him all game?
Yeah, both sides.
Has to.
Yeah.
And has to just torment him.
Right.
And it hurt him. If you watch the game, he's hurt. Like, it's torn. Mm-hmm. He says he has surgery after the season. Like, I'm putting both on him and letting him just go to work.
Yeah.
If that happens, they shut down the run, and Bosa can go to work. This game.
Where are you falling on this game?
This game happens differently, right?
I don't disagrry.
This one. They're both tough for me.
You want to start with the total?
Yeah, start with total.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm going with the under.
Yeah,
46.5.
I didn't look at the weather, but these defenses won't.
I just don't think the weather's gonna have an impact. I mean, if it's nice, then fine. But if it's not nice, then even more so. I'm on the under. So,
yeah, 17-20, 23-20 range.
Yeah. You're on the under as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Have to. Oh, great. That what that means. It's going over. Ladies and gents, we all picked the under.
Where are you at on the game?
God, this one's so tough. This is a tough one. I really want the Niners to do it. I just don't. I think Shanahan gets in his way, and so I'm gonna go Philly. But man, this is a close one. I wouldn't be surprised the Niners pulled this one off. I just think Shanahan's gonna do something early, and the Eagles will score if they mess up.
Yeah,
and then they will. They're great front runners, so it'd be tough for Purdy to come back. We haven't seen it really,
right.
And so I think that's where I'm going.
And you've got Philly
under
as well, and the 2.5. So you and Andrew match up. I've got San Francisco covering the 2.5. Just trying to decide whether or not. I just think this is going to be a very close game. I see it as a 21-20.
A missed PAT?
Yeah, I
you
mean,
guys are used to those.
Something
we didn't hit upon that.
Out of the ordinary. Maybe a team goes for 2. You both have the personnel to be able to do that. Something along those lines. Neither quarterback has really proven themselves overall. Obviously, Hurts has a little bit more experience overall, but I mean, ultimately, neither one of them has been in this position. Hurts, I guess you could argue college, but then he got pulled in the national championship game. So,
I do like how though they've played each other, right. And it was a high scoring event.
High scoring.
I think they'll have comfortability in at least playing each other. They'll be that.
So,
what are you gonna do?
I'm going San Francisco.
Woo!
I'm riding Brock the cock.
Big cock Brock. Wow. Okay. Looks like so far looks like we're not gonna be able to tie on the shitty shots. So that's good. That's good.
All right, Andrew. Lead us into Bengals Chiefs.
Wow, he just gave up.
Yep.
He didn't
want to.
He just gave up. But
I guess we'll lead us in. And then he'll call back.
Bengals 1.5.
Yeah, Bengals are 1.5.
You just bailed on that pick? Is that what you were trying to do?
I got worried and just hung up. I apologize.
That sounded like one of our sales calls,
right?
I'm interested.
No,
just kidding.
No, this is obviously the game of the week that I'm excited for. I was kind of telling Colt earlier. This has got all the feels of like a Jordan flu game, but the Mahomes ankle game. And I think Mahomes puts us to bed that Burrow is 3-0 against him, doesn't let him get to 4-0. Covers the plus 1.5, obviously, outright win. And I'm taking the over in this game. I think it's a shootout. I think it goes back and forth with Mahomes' drama at the end, driving down late, game-winning field goal.
Is he is he limping for a first down to get him into field goal range type of thing?
It's going to be like the Matthew Stafford carrying him, or the Byron Leftwich carrying him across the field.
I love it.
Lord.
And then any thoughts on specific players here? Obviously, the quarterbacks are going to be highlighted, but anybody else you're looking at?
I think it's going to have to be a secondary guy, whether that be a Juju Smith-Schuster, a Kadarius Toney for the Chiefs, or a Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, Samaje Perine type for the Bengals. I think it's going to take one of those guys to really step up to determine a winner. I mean, you got the guys like Kelsey, Chase, Higgins. I think it's going to really take an X factor outside of those guys to get the win in this game.
It's very good stuff. Very good stuff. Yeah, Bengals Chiefs. Obviously, neither team is overly known for their defense. Both were in the top half of the league in overall defense, but neither one of them at the levels of the 49ers or the Eagles, really. Bengals pass rush has been pretty impressive to me, specifically in the playoffs. So it looks like they've figured some stuff out there. Obviously, much better from the beginning of the season when they really struggled. Offensive line, I don't know who's going to be back. I mean, they were out 3 guys last week, and you couldn't tell. But the Chiefs have a better pass rush than the Bills right now. And so they'll find a way to put some pressure on Burrow. Thoughts overall on, when you pressure Mahomes, you seem to pay Burrow kind of the same way.
You pay when you pressure him when he can move.
Right.
Boy, if you don't quit doing that.
I don't know what happened there. I wasn't even touching my phone.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I just think that, thoughts on pressuring either quarterback, and if you think one would be more affected by pressure. Obviously, Mahomes is injured, so in my mind, I'm thinking get at his feet as much as possible if I'm the Bengals. And now if I'm the Chiefs, they've got 3 guys that can go to the house if they break a coverage and you're bringing pressure. I think you have to bring some to get Burrow uncomfortable, but ultimately you've got to be able to hold up on the back end against those 3 really good receivers and probably the best receiving core in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think they use the screen game and the quick slant game as their running game in this.
Yeah.
Really suck up the defense as much as they can and hit a Tony Valdez-Scantling streaming down the middle of the field to really, get over the top. But, I mean, they did it a lot last game. Kelsey, I mean, what do you have, 14 catches for 90 yards?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of dink and dunk, and that's going to be their running game.
Yeah.
Could be a big McKinnon game out of the backfield, but I could see a lot of short 4 or 5 yard passes and let those playmakers just do their thing.
Just get the ball in the hands. And the Chiefs have been more that style of offense this year than the big shot offense that we've seen in the past, and they've been more efficient running the football. Pacheco's been a huge add for them. I think they need to get him touches early and often. He's a hard runner. Had a little bit of fumbling issues kind of middle of the year, but has seemingly righted that ship. I was really impressed last week with how well the Bengals ran the football and just kind of hit Buffalo in the mouth a little bit. And I'm interested to see if they don't try to do that because anytime you can do that against any team in the NFL, you're setting a whole different tone. And if you can run the football 7-8 yards at a time, you can do whatever the hell you want in your offense in the NFL because they have to start respecting the run. And then that's just kind of, I felt like they set the tone in that Bills game early on with that, and the Bills really had no chance because of it. So those are the big things that I'm interested in is which team has more success running the football. I think the Chiefs specifically need to get the running game going just to help Mahomes out just because he's not going to be able to scramble as much, whereas Burrow can obviously kind of dictate, what's working more so than maybe Mahomes will be able to. I think the Bengals are the hottest team in football. I think that so far Burrow is 3-0 against the Chiefs. I'm going Cincinnati, boys.
Okay.
Oof.
Okay.
Oof.
I can get behind that.
I just I think that the ankle ends up being. I think it's going to be hard for Mahomes to not try to do some of the things he normally does. And Stoy and I talked about this earlier. Is that he tries to get out of the pocket sometimes when the pocket is clean, and I think if that instinct is still there, even though he's injured, he's going to put his team in a bad position in a couple different times. And also, he had a couple throws last week that you could definitely tell on even short passes where he had to stick that foot in the ground and make an accurate throw, and he wasn't able to. Now, this could all be overblown, but that's kind of where I'm leaning, is that I just don't think he's going to be able to make all of the throws or all of the plays for 4 quarters. It's not something that's going to get better during the game. And I think ultimately that leads to a mistake at some point that allows the Bengals to pull this one off. I'm also on the over. I do think it's going to be a good game. I see this one somewhere in the realm of like a 31-27 type of game.
So let me ask you this. What would cause the Bengals not to play man and say, have fun, good luck?
Yeah,
what scares them?
I would double team Kelsey.
Okay, you can still do that in man.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So, like, what scares me?
Double team Kelsey and make the Chiefs
Mahomes
run the football.
Based upon, we don't know his health, right? We'll figure that out. He can't hit those quick ones. He can hit the quick ones over the middle, but anything outside, he can't.
You just can't put the foot down. Yeah.
And if that holds up,
yeah,
where are your plays at?
Yep.
And that's ultimately Kansas City's run game does not scare me. Shouldn't scare the Bengals. Okay, so I can go ahead and crowd them and test them, beat me.
Yeah.
Thing is, you can do that most of the game because it takes one scramble and one tackle that we showed earlier.
Right.
If that ankle gets hit that way again,
yeah,
he's out. Right. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
And now backup comes in. Who knows? Like then that game plan switches. So Cincinnati's defense should not be afraid of anything. Really. Double Kelsey, duh. Do your job there. Man up, load the box, and you have to have Mahomes beat you from the pocket on a leg that we don't know. Now, once you test that hang out, he might beat you a couple times. Fine, then you can change. But I wouldn't see why they wouldn't come out and just be aggressive.
Yeah.
Flip side, Chiefs, they can't really run the ball. Defensively, they can get ran on. And I loved what you said about the Bengals. Like they just looked mean and took it over. And when you have a newer O-line, weaker O-line, whatever you want to call it, new pieces, running the ball gets them gelled.
Yeah.
And to me, it looked like that last week. I believe they can come in and do that again. Ultimately, this one is interesting for me because I have that, year-long Super Bowl bet.
Yeah.
It's on the Chiefs. Might have to be cashing that thing out. My cash out went for 142. It's down to 125. Might have to do that, but
I mean, this line has moved 3 points since it started. It
correct.
opened as the Chiefs 1.5 point favorites, and now is on the Bengals 1.5 point favorites. So
all the way up to 2.5 on the Bengals. So
a big move.
So I am also gonna go Cincy.
Oh wow.
Both. Yeah, I just
Andrew going lone wolf here, bud.
Well, why do you think that line's moved so much with the announcement that Mahomes is gonna play?
I mean,
that's what surprised me.
I don't know where the the injury report obviously isn't going to say anything different. And as far as I know, Vegas doesn't have somebody sitting in doing rehab with Mahomes, but I could be wrong.
hey.
I feel like they got the door.
I think it's a partial. It is also a money grab. People are going to put a lot on the Chiefs late.
But that's a pick. I mean, that's a pick 'em line either side.
It is.
That's why I thought the 3-point movement in my mind is bigger just from that perspective and the fact that nothing's changed.
I mean, I did see it go from 1.5 Chiefs to 2.5 Bengals. Like that's a move, which I thought that means Mahomes had a bad report, but he hasn't had a bad report. So.
Right.
I'm actually going under. I don't see this being. I feel like both quarterbacks end up being a little sloppier than we're used to. Mahomes because of his injury, and then Burrow because of pressure that actually comes. I think this can be a little sloppier than normal. Bengals might turn to the run game earlier than usual and just run clock. I mean, I would keep Mahomes off the field. And so I'm going to actually take the under.
There it is. A couple other items here we were looking at. The quarterback over-under for yards. 49ers-Eagles game. Purdy's at 216.5 yards, and Hurts is at 243.5. Both of those numbers are hard to play in my mind. Any thoughts on that, Andrew?
I mean, just going off how I think the game flow is going to go, I would take the over for Purdy. I think we could get some late action yards where, the Eagles kick that field goal with, a couple minutes left, some prevent defense in there where, you might get 30, 40 extra yards out of that.
Gotcha.
But probably over just based off the game flow. And I'm with the running game, if that gets going for the Eagles, I don't see Hurts putting the ball in the air that many times. I would take the under for him, but I would stay away from the Hurts line than the Purdy line, just because he's been pretty consistently around that 215 mark. And with the game flow, I think we could see some quote unquote garbage time yards to get him to that 216.
Yep. And then thoughts on that, Stoy?
No, I agree. I don't think Hurts is getting 243. I don't care about the game flow. I just don't think he's going to get there. Purdy coming back, late garbage stuff. I 100% agree in that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that both of these quarterbacks end up between like 220, 230. I think they end up pretty similar. I would personally probably stay away from both of these. I think they're just too close to call. And into the half drive or into the game drive, I think might make a difference for either one of them. So if somebody picks up 50 yards, at the end of the half or, 40 yards at the end of the game, that's definitely going to be make or break, in my opinion, on either side. So something I would stay away from. Don't really like either one of those. Mahomes and Burrow are both at 270.5 at minus 114. Thoughts on those, Andrew?
That might be my largest bet of the weekend is the Mahomes over passing yard. I mean, if he's playing, he's healthy enough to play. I mean, the guy was at 309.5 last week. I mean, we're talking about a 30-yard difference with a defense that, maybe slightly better. I don't think they're better, in the back four.
Right.
I mean, I think he gets the ball in the playmakers. It's a Kadarius Toney, 5-yard catch that turns into 70 yards at some point. I like him over 300 yards. I like him over the 2.5 touchdowns as well. I might be a little biased on my pick from earlier, picking the Chiefs, but I think Mahomes really shows who the number one quarterback in the league is this week.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in order to take the Chiefs this week, like if I thought Mahomes was healthy, and that the Bengals couldn't draw up a game plan to maybe work against him, definitely look at especially playing at home. But yeah, I mean, I think that he's going to do everything in his power to put the ball in guys' hands. And like I said, the way that their offense is built this year is definitely going to be built more towards being able to do that. But in my opinion, they haven't taken enough shots this year. And they've got Toney and they've got Sky Moore, and I think they need to do that more in this game, being that Mahomes is going to be in the pocket. So when you do get those chances, whether they be play action or just taking a little bit more time and, max protect or whatever, may be, that they're going to need to take some more shots down the field than they have been on the season, in my opinion.
So where are you at with it?
I think that if Cincinnati is going to control the game and win the game, I would be under on Burrow. I think Jamar Chase potentially has a big game. Maybe Hayden Hurst has a couple touchdowns. But I think they're going to be able to control the game and successfully run the football. So I think that while he might throw 3 touchdown passes, it's not necessarily because they're chucking the ball down the field. Right. Jamar Chase is a huge role in this offense. Him and Kelsey, to me, are the glue pieces. If either one of those guys were to go down during the game, I would immediately switch to the other side. Both of those offenses run through those guys when they haven't been able to perform or play, whether it be from injury, like when Chase was out the Bengals offense was stagnant and terrible. Some other factors that went with that as well, but ultimately that's Burrow's go-to guy. But I think in the Bengals world, if they're winning this game and doing kind of what they did last week against the Bills, he shouldn't have to throw for 270. I think Mahomes needs to in order for them to win the game. So I would be same as Andrew on that one.
I'm going to take the under in both. Again, I think it's a low-scoring, sloppy defensive type of game. And not because I think both quarterbacks are bad. I just don't think that they're going to be allowed to do what they want to do.
Okay.
Now, if someone breaks one, obviously they'll blow that right out of the water. But I just don't see it. I don't see it defensively, the need to take some of those risks to allow that. That's now on the offense coordinators to scheme it up. And I don't see that happening. Not in this one.
Yep. Last thing I had here noted, and then you guys can chime in with anything else. I've got 4 guys in each game that I'm looking at anytime touchdown. Right now, Kelsey's a plus 105 to score a touchdown. How that guy's plus is beyond me. So I would be on that. Also think the Chiefs need to run the ball. They're going to be able to boot Mahomes around the goal line and stuff as much. So I think Pacheco gets more carries around the goal line. So I've got him at plus 165. And then Hayden Hurst and Joe Burrow. Hurst is at 310. He's really come on second half of the season, playoffs. Scored quite a few touchdowns, been a main red zone target for Burrow. And then I think Burrow gets a sneak. So at some point, whether it be, a goal line sneak or a scramble of some point with they're in man. You talk about playing man-to-man. That's the best time for a quarterback to sneak, especially in the red zone. Burrow's good at that. I really like that value at plus 500. So that's in the Cincy Kansas City game. You guys want to talk about that before I go to the other game?
Kelsey at plus 105. Give me the money.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't know he was plus money territory. That's
ridiculous.
Did like a triple take when I saw that.
I don't care. I didn't even care who's quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Kelsey scores touchdowns.
Right.
No one guards him in the red zone. No one really
do so many things
does
with
anything.
Him that,
I really like the Hurst. Actually, I'd probably do a Kelsey Hurst little combo.
Yeah.
I think both tight ends are going to
tight end touchdowns in these playoffs have been big.
Oh, that's an issue.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be, I like a Juju or a Kadarius Toney anytime touchdown. If I had put my money on it, I'd probably lean Kadarius Toney. I think he's just kind of that Debo type guy where with the injury, they're just going to have to get the Swiss Army knife some touches. So I like him to score. And on the Bengals side, I think, to Stoy's point, I think they punch it a little bit more. I like Joe Mixon in this game. I think he finds the end zone. I don't think they lean as heavily on Burrow. So I would take Toney and Mixon for anytime touchdowns in this one.
Very nice.
You can find that.
And then on the other side, 49ers Eagles game, Jalen Hurts is at plus 125. I've got him scoring. Kittle's plus 185. Dallas Goedert is plus 240. And then I have Deebo Samuel at plus 170. Good value, I think, in all of those guys. Again, pretty heavy tight end theme for me, 4 out of 8. But it's been a kind of a tight end heavy playoffs. And these guys have all been consistently getting looks in the red zone. So ride that a little bit. Hurts, he's going to get looks around the goal line. And I think the 49ers get creative in the red zone between McCaffrey and Debo actually runs one in.
Andrew, I'll give this one to you.
Yeah. I mean, Debo would probably be my top choice, especially when you say plus 175. I mean, that's really good value there, especially, in that type of environment. I think Purdy's going to see a lot more pressure. They're going to have to find gadget plays to get him the ball out of Purdy's hands a little bit quicker. So I would agree with the Debo call. And then, I mean, at some point, A.J. Brown has to have a game in the playoffs, right?
Right.
I feel like he's a forgotten guy on that offense, and he's just way too good to be quiet for that long. I think they make it a point to get him involved early, make a statement, get him going, and I think he gets a touchdown, and I might sprinkle a little bit, maybe first touchdown of the game with A.J. Brown as well.
Nice. You're right. He's too good a receiver. Top 5 probably receiver in the league. Just from a skill set perspective, he's been super quiet, and he's been too dominant throughout the year. And I think if Philadelphia is winning the game, he needs to have a dominating type of performance. So I think that's definitely a good thing to look at.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, though, between these two games and all 4 left for Super Bowl, I don't care what the matchups are. I'm excited. Like I don't have a favorite. I think they both both sides match up well, and I'm
not going to be disappointed if the Chiefs win. I got to watch Mahomes. If the Eagles win, means Hurts probably put on a pretty good show. Obviously, 49ers, you got to watch Purdy, and Bengals, that means old Smokin' Joe has arrived.
Yeah, obviously.
Would you guys say the AFC side is probably the 2 most exciting teams, where on the NFC side we have the 2 most complete overall teams?
Yeah, and I think so. We hit on this a little bit earlier in the show too, as far as just general quarterbacking play in the NFL right now. How the AFC basically has 6 dudes right now that are just kind of ingrained for the next, call it 5, 10, whatever years. The NFC is still figuring that out, but yet the NFC is seem to be the teams. Obviously with the Rams last year and stuff like that come in a little bit more physical and stuff like that into Super Bowls. So just kind of a little bit different look there from each side. Obviously, quarterbacks get a ton of play in the NFL, but ultimately you got to be able to play both sides of the ball, or all 3 phases of the ball, and end up winning the big one before you get the ultimate respect. So I think that you kind of hit on that, Andrew, with the Mahomes-Burrow conversation is, Burrow beat Mahomes last year, but he didn't get it done in the big one, and Mahomes has. I just think until he gets the big one, doesn't matter if he's 4-0 against the Chiefs if he ultimately doesn't win the Super Bowl again. I could probably argue both sides of that, but do you have thoughts on that?
What was that? Sorry.
Do you have thoughts on, if Burrow beats Mahomes this week, obviously goes to 4-0, and I want to say it'll be either 2 or 3-0 in Arrowhead against Mahomes, is beating him in the AFC Championship game enough for him to move, or does he also need to not only beat Mahomes but also win a Super Bowl in order to get to that level?
He's got to win a Super Bowl to get to that level.
Yep.
I think you start throwing him in the Mahomes conversation at 4-0, and I he's closing that gap. I'll put it that he's closing that gap on Mahomes, especially if he wins this weekend. I think he really closes that. But ultimately, what do we judge quarterbacks on? We judge wins. We judge them on championships, and I don't think you pass him until you win the big one.
Yeah.
But Brady's obviously. He's obviously not the most athletic quarterback in the league, but why do we call him the GOAT?
Yeah.
He's got 7 of them.
100%. And that's, ultimately what it comes down to is, like you said, the 49ers and Eagles are ahead of both of these teams from a defensive efficiency standpoint, from a points allowed standpoint. 49ers obviously dominant in both sides, but specifically the run game. Eagles in the pass game. So, that kind of favors Eagles. If I'm looking ahead matchups against 2 teams who like to, throw the football more than run the football, not that they're not capable of running. That is what I like about all 4 teams this year, is that even the Chiefs now will lean on their running game a little bit more during the game. And even as a quarterback, when you're watching a game, specifically as a Cowboys fan, and you're not giving your best players the ball enough times, in our case as the Cowboys, Pollard not getting the ball enough. Like, I don't care who your best player is. It's the playoffs. If somebody's got a hot hand and it's your running back, then give him the damn ball. If it's a receiver, get him the damn ball. If it's a tight end, give him the damn ball. Find a way. You guys are smart enough. You scheme like this is what these guys live, eat, breathe. Like, find a way to get A.J. Brown the damn football. find a way to get Travis Kelce the damn football. Jamar Chase needs the damn football. Debo and McCaffrey need the damn football. Now, the 49ers, to me, are the team that does the best job of that consistently because of Shanahan's style, but he's also proved to be kind of a bonehead in some situations as well, which kind of
like Super Bowls
Stoy talked about. So, all of those things kind of come into play. But yeah, I would definitely lean towards the NFC looking to be a more complete teams. But you're taking two quarterbacks in there that have absolutely no experience versus the Chiefs and Bengals both taking quarterbacks with, much more experience and much more accolades.
Stoy, being a defensive guy, what is going into game plans? Like, how is Kelce so dominant week in and week out? I mean, we watch on TV and it's like, cover the guy, triple team him. Like what is going into those game plans to try to shut a guy like that down?
Well, let's just talk that a lot of the defense game plans have not been to shut down Kelce. They just haven't. Ultimately, and being a tight end, it's hard for an inline tight end to be doubled, just from a schematic standpoint, and to cover the run at the same time. So they're always going to be open in the middle. Typically, they're going to be in those seams, in those slots, but they run a lot of zone. And if you run a lot of zone, tight ends can eat you alive, and they're allowing that more so than not. But I will give it to the Chiefs. They scheme him open. A lot of red reps, a lot of crossers. A lot of ways to get him open because he's usually on either a slower DB or a safety or a linebacker, and there's not a lot of great matchups. That being said, double him. Like, take him out of the game. I don't understand why teams are not doing that more, specifically in the red zone. They're not doing it at all. Last game, his first touchdown, I should say, was zone. I think it was a match zone, but it was mainly a zone, and they just let him sit there in the middle, and you can't do that with Kelce, with some of these bigger tight ends. You just can't.
Yeah.
So it's a lack of their scheme, obviously them scheming him open, but ultimately you have to make a decision. I'm not letting Kelce beat me. Okay, cool. Let's do that. I think the scheme last week with the Jags was, we're not going to let Kelce beat us big.
Right.
We'll let him catch the underneath. And for the most part, that worked.
Right, except for you gave him 2 touchdowns.
Except for in the red zone, which you screwed up.
Right.
So,
because if he has 12 catches for 75 and no touchdowns,
I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. They had to work for that, but the fact that you gave up the 2 touchdowns is the huge thing there.
And those touchdowns that's just ridiculous.
And they do, from an offensive perspective, they do a lot of option routes. Obviously, Mahomes and him play a lot of backyard football, which, again, this week with Mahomes, maybe not as an option as much, but they give him 2-way goes on pretty much every route. And then when you get into scramble drill or anything like that, he can pretty much do whatever the hell he wants. But he gets open a lot, and he's just big enough to beat a small guy and fast enough to beat anybody that's literally remotely slow, like even safeties or anybody like that. So just a tough matchup overall, but very impressive to do it at his age. Any final thoughts, Andrew?
No, this was awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. Look forward to watching more in the coming weeks. No, just thank you for having me on. And
if your picks are any good, we'll have you back for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you guys got him down. Cole, you have to let me know tomorrow.
I got him. Don't you worry.
We got him.
Right.
Don't you worry. And if you do poorly next week, don't you worry. There'll be a shitty shot. We got you.
I got one at work in my drawer for you.
I can't wait.
All right, man.
Thanks,
I appreciate being on.
All right. Have a good night.
See ya.
With that, we end it with our first guest of the year.
Good guess. A lot of insight.
A lot
of information.
Yeah. I see. Not degenerate. He's not a degenerate.
But he more than dabbles.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good overall. Yeah. Excited to have guests. More guests the merrier.
Right.
Preferably ones that pay us in booze or something like that.
Right.
But we'll get there. Baby steps. Overall, I think it's going to be a great weekend. It should be fun. Everyone enjoy their Sunday. And, we're going to come down to the point of Super Bowl Sunday, but these matchups should be really good football. Whether you like defense, offense, a little bit of both, you're going to get all of it. And you don't have to worry about a kicker missing a PAT.
Have you watched Butker kick?
No, I have not.
He's missed the most PATs.
But in the playoffs, has he?
I don't know if he missed one.
Well, I mean, you can't miss more.
He missed a lot of PATs this year.
That's not good. That's not good. You should know how that feels.
Yeah, I mean,
blocks and everything. So with that, we will sign out. There's a little yellow light that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this turns out.
Right.
But we'll let you know. See you next week.